In 4.1, we started talking about sequences and series, but they were just all kinds of sequences and series, very random. In 4.2, we're talking about a specific kind. We're talking about an arithmetic sequence and series. So let's kind of review. A sequence is a list of numbers in a particular order. For example, 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on. This is a sequence where we're adding 2 each time. So if you're adding something or subtracting something each time in the sequence, that is what makes it arithmetic. And so whatever it is that you're adding or subtracting is called the common difference. It's a constant difference between numbers in a sequence, and so in this case, the common difference was 2. If I look at the sequence 1, 5, 9, 13, we think about, well, what are we adding each time in this sequence? And we see that from 1 to 5, we're adding 4, 5 to 9, we're adding 4, 9 to 13, we're adding 4, and so here my common difference is positive 4, because that's what we're adding. In this first little example, I've given you an arithmetic sequence and I'm asking you to find the common difference. And so here you're looking, what am I doing from 3 to get negative 2? And then what am I doing from negative 2 to get negative 7? And negative 7 to get negative 12? And we see that each time we are subtracting 5. And so my common difference is negative 5. Here we see we're going up each time. And if you look at what you're adding each time, it looks like we're adding 7. And so my common difference is positive 7. Once we know our common difference and we know our starting point, we have an arithmetic sequence formula. So the nth term of a sequence, meaning any term you're looking for, with the first term a1 and a common difference d, is given by this, where n is any positive integer. So this formula might not make very much sense when you first look at it, but let's go ahead and use it in example 1 and see how we would use this. So in this problem, they're telling me the first term, they're telling me what we go up by each time, and they're asking us to find the 12th number. So we are looking for the 12th number in the sequence. Now, what we could do is start with 5, add 2, until we get 12 numbers, and then circle my 12th number. But if we want to make this faster, we can just use this formula to find it. So what we're looking for is a12. We're looking for the 12th term in the sequence. And so that is my n value, is the 12. And they told me a1 is 5. And then it says n minus 1, so 12 minus 1, and then common difference 2. And so here we have 5 plus 11 times 2, which would be 22 plus 5, or 27. So the 12th term in the sequence is 27, and we didn't have to list out 12 numbers. This is asking the exact same thing, but in a different way. So here they're asking for the 10th term, so we know that's my n value. And they're giving me a sequence. Instead of telling me the pieces of it, they're showing me the beginning of it. So 1 is my a1. And then we figure out what are we subtracting each time since this is getting smaller. And it looks like we're going down by negative 3. We're subtracting 3 each time. So this is my common difference. So now that I know my 3 pieces of information, I can find my 10th term, or my a sub n. And so I use this formula right here. So we've got a1 is 1 plus 10 minus 1, and then my common difference is negative 3. So I've got 1 plus 9 times negative 3, and so I get negative 27 plus 1, which is negative 26, is the 10th number in the sequence. Or I could have listed out 7 more terms and seen what the 10th number is, but this is just our shortcut for doing it. In example 2, I'm just refreshing the formula for you, and it says write the equation. So we're writing an equation for a sequence. And they want us to leave n alone. So they want an equation for the nth term. That means they want us to fill in everything but n. And why would anyone want this? We want equations for the nth term. That way, let's say you want the 115th term. Now, if we have an equation, all you got to plug in is 115. So it just helps you find terms, really large terms, so that you don't have to list out the whole sequence. So if I'm looking at this sequence, I'm going to identify what I need. I have A1. A1 is the 8. We look at what we're going up by each time. And so if you look through, it looks like we're going up by 9 each time. So my common difference is 9. And that's really all we need. So we've got A sub n equals, we fill in our first term, which is 8, plus, and then we have n minus 1. Remember, we're leaving n alone. And then we put in our common difference, 9. And what I want you to do is simplify this as much as you can. So we're going to distribute that 9 and collect like terms. And so we are getting 8 minus 9 is negative 1 plus 9n. So if we're writing an equation of the nth term, it should be a simplified equation where there are still n's in the equation. If you want to try part B on your own and pause the video, you can now. But what we're going to do is start with negative 4. That's my a sub 1. And then we look at what we're going up by each time, and it looks like we're adding 6 each time, so my common difference is 6. And that's all we need to make our nth term. So we have negative 4 plus n minus 1 times common difference. Distribute your common difference. We're going to simplify this equation as much as we can. Combine like terms, and we get negative 10 plus 6n is the equation for the nth term. In example 3, it wants us to find the common difference followed by the first term and then the equation. So they're kind of leading us to finding the equation. Equation of the nth term, which is what we just did, an equation with n in it. But first, we have to find the first term and the common difference before we can do that. So what they give us is 2 random terms. They tell us the 8th term and they tell us the 20th term. Now what we could do is use logic to figure out what the other terms between the 8th and the 20th will be and figure out these things using logic, or we could use our shortcut formula. So when they say the 8th term is 75, they're saying a sub 8 equals the first term plus 8 minus 1 times d. So what I did is I filled in the 8 for the 8th term. They say the 8th term is 75. Is means equals, so this equals 75. And I'm going to simplify 8 minus 1. So that's what they're giving me in this first part where they say the 8th term is 75. Let's do the same thing for 20. A sub 20 would mean that's a1 plus 20 minus 1d. And a sub 20 is 39, so we fill in 39 for that a20 and simplify 20 minus 1. And so that's what I get there. Now, to find a1 and to find d, we're going to use elimination method. Or you could use substitution method if you like that better. So we're going to do systems of equations here and line them up. And I'm going to subtract the second equation. And the way these are set up, the a's should automatically cancel because they match. So I have 75 minus 39, which is 36, equals, the a's cancel, 7 minus 19 is negative 12d, and then divide by negative 12. So we're getting negative 3 for our common difference. Then what we want to do is go ahead and fill in the common difference into one of our equations and find a1. So let's look at what I did direction-wise. I found the common difference. Now I'm looking for the first term. So it doesn't really matter which one you fill it in. I'll fill it into the 75 equation. And so I'm getting negative 21, and I add 21 to the other side, and I'm getting a1 to be 96. So I did the second part of the directions. I found the common difference, and now I just found the first term of the sequence. And now that I have these two things, I can do the final step, which is find the equation for the nth term. So a sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. Remember, we leave n alone when we're looking for the equation of the nth term. So I'm going to distribute my negative 3. and combine like terms. 96 and 3 make 99. And so that is the equation of the nth term. If you want to try part B on your own, pause the video now. But let's go through it real quickly. So we've got fifth term is -2. So A5 equals A sub 1, 5 minus 1D. And they said it's -2. So we set that equal to -2 and simplify. So I've got one equation. They say the 13th term is 30. So A sub 13 is A1 13 plus 13 minus 1D. And it says it's the 30th term, so we fill in 30, and 13 minus 1 is 12. Now we're going to use elimination method, systems of equations, to put those two equations together. So let's put 30 on top and subtract the -2 equation. So we've got 30 plus 2. A1 minus A1 cancels. 12 minus 4 is 8. Divide by 8, we get a common difference of 4. Once we have our common difference, we fill it into one of the equations to find A1. Let's fill it into this -2 equation. We get 16 and we subtract it to the other side, so we're getting A1 to be -18. And now that we have those two pieces of information, we can find the equation of the nth term. So A sub n is -18 plus n minus 1 times our common difference 4. Distribute it. Collect your like terms, -18 and -4 make -22. And that is your equation of your nth term.